two-part epoxy primer has cured. It's probably been cured for about a day and a half, 2 days, man, no, 2 days now. And I'm really happy with it. I got the finish, the rough edge tooth finish that I want. So now when I put on the orchid white marine enamel, it'll adhere really well. So I'm quite pleased with the way the seams and everything came out. So now it's, you know, you're ready to put on 3 coats. So let me go about and do that. There's nothing, you know, like watching somebody paint. So I'll come back when I get done with this first coat and show you how it looks. First coat of marine enamel's on. I'm using System 3's orchid white, which is a real bright white. And the other thing to do now is to take a cloth and dampen it down and go along and wipe underneath. Rotate it as you go along in case you do pick up something. Notice I got some splatters here from the epoxy, I think, that I didn't notice. I'll see if I can remove it with. It seems to be coming up with water. If you get the rails epoxied and cured, you can pretty much come back and. Now there's a spot right here I'll have to dress up. But if that's all I got done, I'm okay. Beats having to tape everything off. So, 1 coat, and we'll do 2 more coats, and I see some runs, and so I better get my brush and get rid of them. And that's another thing, check for runs, check for pinch prints. Look underneath like I just did with the wet cloth and clean everything up. Look on the rails on the outside that you haven't spilled anything, because sometimes, you know, now this weather's getting colder, you're going to be wearing clothes and stuff, so you don't feel those little wet spots on your bare arms like you will in the summertime. So, we're in the middle of one of our big Pacific Northwest fall wind rainstorms, so the paint's not drying like it should, and a little bug that impaled itself. So I've got to set up my tent now to dry it out. So I got my little space here, and then I'll tent it up with some tarp that I've got, and then clamp it down, and then I'll come back when I get it done. This usually is just on, you only want to turn it on to where it's just going to warm it up inside, maybe into the 60s. I need to get a little thermometer to hang inside here too, and humidity meter to just watch it go down, but you don't need a lot of heat, just enough to warm it beyond what the room temperature is. So let me go ahead and tent it, and we'll come back. I've got my blue plastic tarp tents over it, and I've got some clamps to hold the tarps together and to weight down the edges. And there's enough opening at the end that the moisture can get out. And I have it set fairly low, and if we stand here long enough, when I originally plugged it in, it ran for a bit and then turned off pretty quick, so I turned it up just a hair so it'll run for this segment. But it'll cut out in about, I don't know, probably, there it did. So it doesn't take much, and so it's not going to use a lot of electricity. And but normally I'll come out before I go to bed and unplug it just to be on the safe side. Got the second coat of white enamel on, and it's starting to make a big improvement. 1 more coat should even it out and fill in any spots that look a little thin at the moment. I'd almost, if it was going to be my boat for the time, you know, I see things in here that I would like to have sanded out, but like I've said before in other videos, you really can't see all the little, you know, epoxy drips and the little rough edges unless you have some really bright lights, some really bright lights, good eyes. But basically the wood hides so many flaws that until you get it painted out with something like this bright white, and then things just jump out at you. The other thing is that this is a boat. It's not something going to a museum. I'm not going to take this to a wooden boat festival as the example of exemplary work I'm not that kind of craftsman. I like to get it as good as it looks at, say, 6 feet. But if you come up to it, you know, 2 inches away, they say, oh, well, there's a little bit of, you know, dingus in your finish. I don't really care, because it just keeps you from taking the boat out and enjoying it. So enough of this proselytizing, and see you later on the third coat, and then we'll flip it over and let it cure upside down. I just finished putting on the third coat of white paint, and I'm looking for spots. Let me come back. I just found one I didn't see earlier. I've got it wiped up. I think they're all gone. Like I said, I've got the third coat on. I'm going to let it cure overnight without heat, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow and pull the blue tape off and see how much bleed through, if any, I've got underneath onto the black, and then figure out how to cure that later on. But then I'm going to flip it over and start working on the bottom. That'll conclude the painting on the inside. I'll wait until it completely dries and cures before I come back and put the hatches on, because I want to put some RTV around the edge of the hatch before I seal it in to make it tight, watertight. And then I still have to put on the rudder hardware on the inside here too. So later, it's time to flip it back over again. I've got a block and tackle going through the painter U-bolt up in front, and then I'm going to come back here to the back and then flip it over, and hopefully I won't hurt myself in the process. Voila! Now I'll let her down and get her ready to start working on the bottom. I got to do some masking along the rails here to keep them protected. So I got the one side done while it was upright, which makes it easier to do. I'll be back. I've got it up, you saw I've got it upside down. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this video on what I got so far on the painting of the interior, and I doubt if I'll do anything on the taping of the exterior for this video. So the next one we'll start up with starting to work on the bottom, giving the bottom a good sand again, and then starting up with the two-part epoxy primer, and then looking around some, you know, where there's any flaws that don't show up until you do something. And I'm pretty sure that I'll find some things that I wasn't expecting after I get the first coat of epoxy primer on. So we'll see. Till the next time.